I feel like I can't be canceled for that because people already call me Scamouranth. That was a fun time.
Amouranth, one of the biggest streamers on Twitch.
You've also had a history of getting banned on Twitch.
I'm kind of curious to see what Amouranth is up to.
Never known any girl to prance around in a bikini because she finds it fun. Now I have beer from my... We actually asked him if you want to try it.
Oh, in my face. You've had some serious issues with stalkers over the years.
I really shouldn't have this much hope in humanity.
Could you ever step away from that limelight? Welcome to Clickbaited.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a look at some headlines that we've wrote about you across the years. And we're just going to have a little chat about it.
Okay.
Perfect. Do you want to bring up the first one?
Amouranth reveals lucrative Kick streaming deal doubled her income.
So you obviously joined Kick. And you've also had a history of getting banned on Twitch. So was that part of the reason that you went for the Kick deal, is a bit more security?
Partly at the time, but you know, it's been almost 2 years since then. So actually, in that time, I've developed a better relationship, I would say, with Kick and Twitch. So it's like they're both pretty communicative now.
Yeah.
So there's not as much of a fear, I guess, of being on Twitch. They've really like mellowed out a lot. Like the new CEO, Dan, he's very personable, very chill with creators. And he wants our input a lot too, so that's really nice, which is kind of what Kick did as well. But
I believe there's a headline, it was Amouranth slams Twitch staff over ban policy, they don't even communicate. So, and that was back in 2022. So do you think since then that there's actually a lot more communication?
Oh yeah,
with
definitely
the likes of
now.
Dan coming in?
Yeah, for sure. Like I've gotten my account like unshadow banned just by talking to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's the algorithm doing that." Like there's like a feature that locks your account under, I guess it was like mature content, and it was like locked for a year. And I was telling him like, "Hey, like I don't just do streams that are like showing a butt camera and thing like a lot of other girls were doing. Like I'm actually doing like IRL stuff. I stream with animals." And he's like, "Oh, you're right. I'm gonna take that off your account."
Oh, that's pretty good of him.
Yeah.
Because in comparison, Kick has kind of been always said that it's a bit of a lax moderation.
Like I think they're pretty fair with it. I wouldn't say that they just let anything go because they've been very outspoken trying to say, hey, don't do anything stupid, don't do anything illegal. Like that's not what the site is about. But, you know, I feel like Eddie is probably just new also to running a platform like this. And too often I find that intelligent and leadership roles assume the best in people at first when they're new to things. I've done that before as well with some certain of my employees. And then you find out later like, oh, no, I really shouldn't have this much hope in humanity, and you have to crack down again. So like, I think that's probably what's been going on. And not that they're just...
You can't have any hope in humanity. Wow. It's got real deep, real fast.
Not too much. You have to assume that not everyone's going to be dictating their content with common sense in mind.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, okay, I'm going to reduce my expectations of humans going forward.
Yeah.
I would like to read the next headline.
Twitch star Amouranth just bought 7-Eleven store for a whopping $10 million.
Give us a breakdown of your 7-Eleven store purchases.
Okay, so essentially I'm just like the landowner. So I don't actually run the gas station or control any Slurpees or gas prices, sadly. But it's cool. I just rent out the facilities, and then they pay me like a rent fee, just their landlord.
You're notoriously kind of open about money, how much you've made, which is why I've said you're wealthy, because I've seen your Bitcoin account. You know,
well, that's actually in cold storage now, by the way, the Bitcoin, because I've had a lot of people trying to...
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, call me and pretend they're like from the Coinbase or whatever, a lot of fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's your kind of thoughts on crypto in general? You know, have you been involved in any kind of the latest meme coins or shit coins?
I don't do meme coins. Now, I have thought about starting one, and because I feel like I can't be canceled for that because people already call me Scamouranth. So I feel like that's just on brand to have one. So I'm maybe, who knows?
You could call it Scamouranth.
It would be good, Scam Coin or something.
Scam Coin. I mean, why crypto? Is it just because it's, you know, something you've been advised on, something you're interested in?
It's more of I believe that people believe in it. So I don't know if I necessarily believe in it, but I know that other people do.
And have you made a significant profit on crypto so far?
Yeah, actually, because I bought it when it was still at like 6,000 to 7,000.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty early. You know, before it shot up crazy.
Why are you so open about money? What is it that? Because a lot of people would keep that kind of quiet. What is it about kind of, you know, telling people it's
I think that it's good to let you know like how, I guess, lucrative the industry can be right now, while also telling you the downsides. I like providing like pros and cons to people looking to go into it. It's like, yes, there's a lot of money, but you also deal with these, so you really need to decide, is that worth it? And I also try to tell people like it's not guaranteed that you'll go and succeed if you try to be online, like especially for girls trying to do OF or something. Like that's even less likely to succeed than any other typical platform where you're trying to do TikTok or whatever. Because think about all the girls on OF who make money. They're in 0.01%. It's like,
well, I think the average is like $150 a month.
yeah, it's, if that, I feel like that would even be good for most like normies just joining, because there's no growth on it.
Yeah.
You can't grow. There's no discovery on the platform itself. You have to have other existing platforms already. And if you already have followers there, you're already doing something they like. So it's probably better to just stay the course and ride the algorithm, because once you start trying to promote OF in like discreet ways, is when you start getting banned, shadow banned, anything. So it's actually really hard to do, especially now when it's so oversaturated. And I think most girls, if they just make one, they're more likely to ruin their personal life, like their job opportunities, get fired, not have good dating, I guess, options around them if everyone knows that they're trying to do this stuff, parental repercussions for some families. Like, there's just so many downsides that I don't think that it's even likely to succeed anymore.
What made you want to, talking of OF, what made you want to get into it? Like, what made you want to get into that world?
I was already doing cosplay boudoir type shoots, and like Patreon was kind of had something similar on it. And it just seemed like the natural progression, because when I saw it popping off, especially around like COVID, started like 2020, 2019, right before it did. I saw the numbers rising, and all the girls from Patreon were leaving because PayPal started cracking down on Patreon. So people were losing customers because they couldn't get their payments through. And so it just seemed like the next most obvious jump over.
And I guess that's obviously been a massive financial help. But it's also kind of led to, do you think that's why you are kind of the pioneer of the kind of the pool space and that kind of thing? Because you were trying to find a way to cleverly market it?
Yeah, probably. I think that's what most girls are. And if they say no, they're just being dishonest. Because I've never known any girl who's especially like a Twitch streamer, to prance around in a bikini just because she finds it fun, and definitely doesn't have, any other site to join.
Right.
Like, I just don't see that.
Yeah.
At least not on a consistent basis. Maybe a one-off, right? But
You also invested $7 million in a pool toy company. How did that come about?
I actually have a lot of private equity. So it was just one of the ventures that my private equity had, a little inflatable company. And I say a little, but
Yeah.
they acquire a bunch of businesses, and so I just invest.
And did you have any input where you're like, hey, look, the pool streaming is pretty big right now. We're going to get some serious inflatable sales.
Well, I just thought the timing was funny, but it kind of made sense though if everyone was like on lockdown, and a lot of people do at pools, So it's like, what are you gonna do in COVID? Like, summer is here and there's nothing to do, and it's like, that makes sense.
What is the best-selling inflatable?
I'm actually not sure which one. Probably just a tip. I would guess just a typical ring, or one of those like yoga type inflatable mats that people lay on. But I personally like the Pickle Rick ones and bananas, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice. All right, next one. This is obviously where things get a bit wild. So,
Twitch star Amouranth is now selling 1K fart jars in her bathwater. That was a fun time.
Yeah, that was a good time. So you sold 1,000 jars of your own farts.
Yes.
And bath water. Was that kind of inspired by Belle Delphine's kind of stunts?
Yeah, a little bit. It was. I don't do that anymore, but now I have beer from my yeast.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
My own personal homegrown yeast.
That's true. Can you tell us how that came about and how it works, I guess?
Well, it's a Polish beer company. I think it's called Yoni Beer, and they emailed me actually with the proposal. And I thought it was so crazy. I didn't think it would go anywhere, but after talking to them, they have done it with other girls, not like influencer girls, but just random girls, I guess, in Poland. I don't know.
I don't know how that would work.
So I collected it myself and I sent it in. We actually asked them if you want to try it.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
I'll drink it. I think we have one ready actually.
Oh, do we have one ready?
Yeah, I think so. We're gonna go with the alcohol-free. Oh, in my face. Okay. Is it weird that I'm drinking essentially?
It's only weird if it tastes bad.
Okay. All right.
I thought it was okay, personally. Kind of fruity.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a cola. I think this one's actually frozen.
Oh, cold fridge. Cold ones.
We'll leave that there. The essence.
Yeah, I was told
not
they also
sponsored.
drank it, so I need to watch the reaction still.
I mean, it tastes quite nice. It tastes sweet. I mean, I wouldn't know that it was from you,
Yeah,
I guess.
it just tastes like a drink.
Just tastes like a drink. But do you know how successful it's been? Have you kind of had any sort of reports from them?
Yeah, all the reviews that I've had in person have said good things. I actually it was funny because I was going to do a taste test with Elizabeth Warren. Because
Okay.
I did a activation for Progressive Victory. I think that was the liberal organization this past election. I think it was the first debate between Biden and Trump. And the next day they had planned for her to try out my beer on a call
Right.
with Austin, who streams on Twitch also, the Austin show. Yeah. And what's sad, kind of funny though, is that Biden's performance was so terrible that they just called off the follow-up call out of embarrassment because they're all scrambling like, that was bad, what do we do? Oh no.
Yeah, we can't do the yeast beer now.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been funny. We weren't even going to tell her what it was
Oh,
until
really?
she
You just
drank
couldn't make
it.
it do it? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because there was some kind of, I guess, bit that she had done before where she was trying out a beer and people thought it was just so weird for a politician to do in some kind of content that she did.
Yeah, you're right.
And so we were like, here, you can try this one now, but it didn't happen. But it would have been great.
That would have been incredible. That would have been incredible
so funny.
marketing. So going back to the fart jars.
Fart jars.
This is actually my job and your job.
Yeah.
You sent some to Ludwig in the yard, who all got various different levels of smell.
Every part's different.
Did you have to adjust your diet?
No, I actually have a lot of protein. I'm already pretty gassy, so. Yeah, I have 120 grams of protein a day, so.
That'll do it. Mm-hmm. So how long did it take to make all 1,000 jars?
I didn't do it all at once, so
Obviously, I'm not guessing you just sat there and just ripped out 1,000 farts.
I just kept jars in my bathroom,
Okay.
so when I had to go, just bottle it up a little bit.
According to the website for the farts, how long does the scent last when kept in best conditions?
It probably depends how potent it was that day, so I'm not sure, because I can't test it because then the product's ruined, right?
Right.
Once you open it.
But what does the website say? It says the website says how long does the scent last when in best conditions? So what's your guess?
I didn't write the website, but if I had to guess, a year shelf life.
I'm afraid not. Under best conditions, 20 to 30 days.
Darn.
Do you have any plans to
They
bring
don't
it?
age like wine, I guess.
They don't. It doesn't age like wine, no. And of course, for people out there who never got a chance to get a jar,
Yeah.
do you have any plans to bring it back, or is that kind of more of a one-off stunt?
I feel like it's a one-off stunt for now, unless someone else does it, and then I have to beat them at their game. But for now, as long as no one's making it and is making viral headlines, I'm off the fart business.
Is that is it essentially a marketing stunt?
Yeah, essentially, because I know people will write about it. So
Yeah, us.
if you can get free earned media plus some profit sales in there for relatively little effort, then that sounds like the best of all worlds.
Facts. Mm-hmm. Right, next topic, Amouranth. Slightly different.
Amouranth is now co-owner of an esports team and latest shock business move.
You invested in a team called Wildcard Gaming, who are based out in Houston.
Yeah.
What made you want to invest in an esports team? Esports notoriously the biggest money pit of all time. So what's kind of the incentive for you to do that?
I just felt like it was something new that I haven't done before and that people would write about, especially. So, and I was right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there was actually a bit of a storm on Twitter that we kind of caused by mentioning it was Amouranth or Wildcard, and one of the players replied saying, you could just say wild card, implying that he didn't want you associated with the team's success.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about, really. Like, I know it was just one player that did it. It wasn't like the organization themselves. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that, like, in one game, they're chanting my name afterwards. Like, we have, like, a video of it as some kind of, like, morale thing. Like, yeah. And then later on Twitter, they're like, doesn't have to be Amouranth's team.
I mean, as I pointed out, I think we had a discussion on Twitter that it was, that is because it would then get wildcard more views because associated with your name.
I feel like it makes sense, but,
a lot of people don't agree.
Disagree.
Okay, next one.
Amouranth reveals what her conservative parents think of her Twitch and modeling content. Oh.
Your parents said that they were unsure until you showed them your bank account.
Yeah.
And that to be honest, this article was written over 3 years ago. It was back in December 2021. What's their attitudes to it now? Has it changed much?
Most of their concern was actually for my safety, because it was when I first started, like, being in the news for, like, Stalkers and stuff, and having that Estonian guy especially. And I hadn't really, like, discussed with them how much money I was making, I guess, before that point. And so I had to tell them, like, yeah, I'm getting swatted, Mom, because it happened. I think the phone call I remember happened after they also got swatted. They swatted my parents' house too. And so it's like, is this really worth it? And I'm like, Mom, I'm making $1 million a month. And she's like, okay.
We'll deal with it. That's amazing.
So it's still like, be safe, right? But then also, like, we understand it's a very unique situation.
You obviously stream all the time, constantly. What's your relationship like with your parents? Do you get to see them that often? Do they live nearby? Do they come around, kind of thing?
They live nearby, and we get together from holidays a lot of the time. We're like occasionally, they'll come over and see the animals. So I wouldn't say it's like every week, just because, I don't think anyone wants to see their parents every week. No offense, love them, but but I moved out, for a reason.
Right, okay.
Everyone likes their space.
Yeah, of course.
And we still talk often. My dad sends me memes like multiple times a day, so it's pretty chill.
So, when you started to become famous, like, what was it like for the people around you that kind of just knew you as Kate, the girl from Houston? What was the kind of what changed? How did they react to it?
A lot of my friends that I had before got kind of salty, I think, when I first got into it, because I wasn't making enough money or enough clout yet for them to want to leech on. So instead, they distance themselves. And then you see them start to come back around after your net worth gets released and stuff, and you become more viral. Yeah. Also, you find out who the fake people are really fast. But I guess I don't have that many friends left over from my days before. I guess about the most normal type of friends I have are the people at, like, my horse stable who don't know my online stuff because they're not involved in social media.
Is it nice to have people that don't know you for who you are, if that makes sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or don't know you for what you're known for, rather.
Yeah, they don't know the online stuff, just offline.
Do you find that people treat you differently, or do you think it's...
I would say yes and no, I guess, because it depends who it is, right? I think guys definitely treat me different because they see it more as like a prize money associated with it. But girls kind of who aren't involved in social media treat me like just a normal person.
Okay, next one.
XQC bans viewers and loses it with Twitch chat over Amouranth stunt allegations.
Yeah. So this is back in October 2022. XQC was banning viewers who called your split from your husband a publicity stunt. Mm-hmm. Did you expect to get the level of support that you did from the community? Because I know that it was obviously a difficult time for you.
Right.
But it did seem like a lot of people rallied around you at the same time.
I was really surprised about that. It was very, I guess, heartwarming when I saw XQC defending me, because he's also had his issues with personal matters.
Yep.
And how a lot of it can be, I guess, rumored about online by just a bunch of chatters, and a lot of gossip and misinformation goes around, and people just like to make their own assumptions. So I think we have a lot in common there. But yeah, I was pretty surprised by, just how much my friends online were willing to stand up for me. It was cool.
You were accused of faking the accusations for clout. Did that make the process harder to go through because,
That doesn't really affect the process. It's more of just, again, that putting my faith in humanity has led me astray.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that doesn't help anybody to do that kind of stuff. So
one of the accusations of the hoax based on the notion that you haven't changed your content since, when you had said previously that you'd done some of the content for your ex-husband. So you said it would be irresponsible for you to want to edit your content, considering you had so many staff. Do you think that your content has changed on the back of that relationship?
I think it definitely has, though, because if you look at Kick, it's like I'm rarely ever doing pool stuff or whatever. It's not nearly as try hard to like convert people to OF in that way. But I guess like for people to think that, oh, just because I might go back to bikini or continue OF or whatever means that it's all fake. Like, no, that just means that despite my ideal situation, what I would like to succeed in content, at the end of the day, you have to be realistic. It's a male-dominated space. Mm-hmm. And if you've built up an audience of male viewers, it's understandable. They'd rather watch girls in bikinis rather than the opposite. And so, yeah, the business model doesn't really work anymore, but it doesn't mean that that the whole situation is fake. That's just more of a coming to grips with reality and an understanding that's like, well, it's called work for a reason. You know?
Pokemon said in an interview last week that a number of top streamers, the biggest streamers are kind of Kai and Speed, and there's not really any women on that level at the moment.
Yeah, it's a reason.
What would you say that reason is?
Women aren't as relatable to a mostly male audience. They can't really see themselves as like living vicariously through a woman because they're not women. And they're not really one to just be friends with women. Like they wouldn't be like, oh, if a guy approaches a girl like in a public space, just because he's attracted to her. He's not like who doesn't walk up to random girls like, hey, you want to be friends? Yeah. And if he didn't find her cute, he wouldn't be walking up to her at all. Right. It's just what it is. It's more of a.
How do you think that? If it's mainly a male-dominated viewing audience, how do you get more women to watch? How do you get more women to watch and relate to people? Or do you just think that's just not?
I think that there will always be more men watching online than women because men stay lonelier for longer. Women typically, like, they can have actual social lives a lot easier than guys and get into relationships. They can start family easier than guys. And so I think there's just a lot more lonely men out there than there are women. Even in high school and stuff, it's easier for girls to make friends, and they have their own little clique communities they feel safe in, So it's not, I guess, as prevalent. I know there are a lot of certain aspects of online that have more women audiences, like makeup influence or something, but that makes sense because it's catered specifically to women. But if you don't have a product that caters specifically to women, I think women are just less prone to spend time online in the same way guys are, because guys kind of look to it for a sense of community, because it's harder for guys to show emotions and connect with people in society. It's not as like accepted or easy. Okay. That makes them feel more vulnerable. So they kind of turn to do it privately online, versus women, they don't have that kind of challenge in life. So they tend to have more real friends, and guys tend to have more online friends. I say Facebook has more women.
Facebook, right, okay. Why do you think that is?
Because it lets women connect to each other who are long distance, like family, or like horse girls or the dog ladies. Like, it's more community based and like interest level, and a lot of older people use it. So
yeah, I guess especially when you're in the community as well, you're kind of shielded from that outside abuse, which, to be honest, I've noticed a lot online in the last few years has dramatically increased. I think it's because certain platforms like Twitter, for example, have kind of just completely relaxed any sort of rules on there about how you speak to people. I do think that I guess that having that hidden ability is definitely something that makes sense why it flourishes more on Facebook.
Yeah, and it's an older platform, so I think as the older a platform gets, the more mainstream it becomes, the more balance of men and women you have on there. And women aren't as likely to watch a long-term live stream because it doesn't return dopamine the same way that something like Facebook does, where they have notifications for their likes, comments, messages, etc. You know, because women don't have usually that long stretches of time just because they end up having kids and all those things. And so they go for the sites that provide them quick dopamine, like Instagram, sometimes Twitter, Facebook, things like that. Not so much sitting for long periods of time watching other people.
Right, yeah.
So it makes sense if you think about it in a social sense.
It sounds like you've kind of looked into it a lot, or you've had kind of advice on a psychology level. Is this something that you've kind of researched?
Really.
Or?
I think it's just I've always been an observant person since I was a kid, so it's just something I notice. I notice patterns easily.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think where do you get your main source of knowledge from when it comes to stuff like that? Are you a big internet person? I mean, not to grass you up, but one of your assistants said before that you might be looking at dinosaurs, for example.
I just watch actual videos and I analyze, like, does this seem accurate or not? Does this make sense? And I'll notice things like they never want to show you a complete dinosaur skeleton. It's always cropped. And then you can see, too, if you really pay attention, like, they'll be digging in one area and then they show an overview of them scanning something. And they, like, look at the picture and the background's different. It's a different setting entirely. They're not even showing you what they're scanning. And
So you're looking for continuity errors?
yeah,
Okay.
I look for the plot holes.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Next topic.
Amouranth set to make boxing debut at Ibai's upcoming event. Oh, yeah.
Why did you want to box in the first place? Because it's a little bit different to what you've done.
Well, they invited me, and I'd never been to Spain before, Europe in general. Thought it'd be a cool opportunity, and then it gives me like kind of like an arc to stream the boxing training and all that. I thought it'd just be kind of cool, and she didn't look very intimidating either, so I felt pretty confident.
You're right. Well, I mean, I don't think you're quite. Well, how do I phrase this? You're not a very intimidating
I'm
person.
not. Right. So it's an even matchup. Yeah.
Right. It's okay. You pulled out for medical reasons. Could you see yourself going back into it? Could you see yourself fighting there?
I don't know. Yes and no. It would depend who, right?
Okay. Who would you want to fight?
Pokimane.
Pokemon.
No.
That would be.
I don't think she would.
That'd be a battle for the ages.
We could pillow fight.
Never content
It's paid tickets only.
The business is always working.
I actually was reached out to by a guy who did boxing. What's his name again? He was in my Instagram DMs. He boxed that one.
Oh, for social gloves.
Yeah, he reached out. He's like, Kate. And I was like, what? And then he's like, do you have Snapchat? And I was like, what? That's such a weird thing to ask.
That is a weird thing to ask.
She told me that he was divorced. I'm like, oh,
Right.
yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe I'll box him though. We don't know. Hot
Okay.
tip boxing. Make it happen.
Right. Next topic, Amouranth.
Twitch streamer Amouranth has a weird eating habit, and everyone's freaking out. Oh my god.
What is the weird habit that we've covered here?
Oh, people were like freaking out because I was swallowing like pasta and chicken and stuff, but that's because I had braces, so I couldn't chew. It was poking my gums, and people were like, "Oh my god," because they didn't realize, I guess, because I had the braces that go on the inside of your teeth.
Right. Okay. Do you still find yourself doing it now?
No, I chew everything now. Okay. I haven't choked in a long time.
Did you get a lot of notoriety from that kind of?
Yeah, people come up to me all the time, they're like, "You're that girl that choked on pasta." I'm a big fan. You inspired me to become a snake.
Okay, if you'd like to read our next headline.
Amouranth launches new digital duplicate for fans to spend time with.
Okay, so you've launched a fully functional digital duplicate in partnership with tech firm Eva AI.
Yeah, Eva's a friend of mine. She just was launching this startup app, which I thought was pretty cool. I love all the AI stuff people are exploring. And she was like, can I use you as one of the girls on it, make a digital duplicate of you? I was like, sure, why not? That sounds fun.
You've tried
I'm all for it.
You've tried the like an AI Amouranth project in the past. Famously, the previous one, completely unrelated, but the CEO of Forever Voices, one of the companies you partnered with, was arrested for arson. Did that kind of come as a bit of a surprise?
Yeah, I don't think anything ever happened after that from them. Yeah, there's been a few different AI type stuff too. I also worked with Athene AI, and he made a Fansly account for an Amouranth AI. I think it's still up and running. It still has customers on it. They're still chatting with AI Amouranth.
Do you think it's a bit strange having an AI version of yourself and like people being able to go and speak to it? There's been a lot of critics would say that there's kind of been it could have a potentially bad impact on the loneliness epidemic, but you've actually kind of said the opposite. You think it doesn't cause loneliness, it's probably more therapeutic.
Right, yeah, I don't think that it can cause more loneliness. I think lonely people are the ones going to it, right? It's like you take an aspirin when you have a headache, but it doesn't cause your headache.
Sure.
It just helps relieve it a little bit.
On that topic, you said that you'd made $34,000 in the first 24 hours. Quite open with your kind of figures. How much have you made from it overall? Do you know?
I don't know right now. I haven't looked in a while. I'm kind of comfortable, so I tend to not look into stuff right away until taxes are due.
Rich people problems, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Twitch adds new category and Amouranth instantly shoots to the top. Oh, which one?
Okay, so this is from November 2021. Tell us which category that you shot top the awards of.
Was it the animal one?
It actually was, yeah.
Yay!
So we thought you might fall for the bait and say pools, but I think it was probably after that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were streaming from your stables at the time, and your kind of plan overall, we believe, is owning a ranch with as many animals as possible
that's the
for your
dream.
end game. How long has that been your dream?
Probably since I was a kid, I've always wanted a ranch with animals, but growing up, could never afford it, so it finally became more of a realistic dream. As an adult, got into all the influencer money and stuff, so I'm still really wanting to do that. Yeah, I'm hoping that the price of land goes down soon, and as the internet gets better, a lot more properties will be more realistic. Get that Starlink up to speed, and then it doesn't really matter as much as long as it's like an hour away from an airport, roughly.
Yeah, sure. And you've kind of said before that you plan to retire once your passive income comes greater than your active income. Is that still the case? And is it totally true? Could you ever really step away from like streaming, do you think? Could you ever step away from that limelight?
I think that I could step away from the grind. I think there's no harm in keeping like a stream, like maybe a few days out of the month at the minimum, maybe a few days out of the week max, but nothing like 12 to 15 hour days every day, hopefully.
Right, yeah.
Like I don't want to do that forever.
Is that kind of your schedule right now?
Yeah.
But is that a self-imposed schedule?
It is.
Not to,
Yeah. No, it definitely is, just because, especially with the kick deal, it's like if they're paying you for only a certain amount of years, you got to milk it while you have it. So.
Do you find it hard to kind of be active for that? Because I think one thing that people don't really understand, when you're watching a stream, most of the time you're just alone in a room and obviously stuff's coming up on a chat. Is it hard to kind of maintain that understanding of what it is?
Not really. I'm pretty realistic, I would say. Like, I don't feel too lonely either, even though most of it is just online, because I constantly have like staff coming in and chatting, and I go out and I do IRL streams and stuff. So I don't feel totally secluded.
That's true. You do go out. You are very much the variety streamer, as they say.
The only time I leave the house is when I'm streaming usually, or if it's at my barn, but that still counts. There's people there.
It still counts. Okay, next one.
Amouranth reveals Twitch hot tub stream her manager refused to let her do.
What was the plan?
Oh, gosh. Sleeping in the hot tub.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's it like streaming in a hot tub for so long? Because, is there any sort of unexpected challenges?
I guess just, my own boredom.
Right.
I have to reinvent everything. I've got the controller in the hot tub. I could play games in it. I did ban appeals from the hot tub. I played Just Dance for a little bit, but that was kind of hard to do. It was very slippery.
You were also offered an opportunity to do a hot tub stream, but in coffee, but you declined as you weren't sure if it went against the rules. Is there any other streams that you've wanted to do but couldn't be hot tub based or not?
I really wanted to have like a podcast in the hot tub. I ended up doing a digital one, so everyone was in their own hot tubs.
Right.
But I never like pursued the idea. I think it's because the meta died so fast, they put it in its own category. And once they do that, at first it's still okay, but then it becomes less relevant because there's not as many people as there was when it was in just chatting or like IRL section, whatever it was. But that would have been really fun. I would have loved to have a podcast with like maybe Wubby, because he used to get in his occasionally. I think XQC would have been fun. Mizkif, like just like a big podcast, get train wrecks in there, but it didn't happen. Could have been called Wet Ones.
It works.
Yeah.
It really does work, Wet Ones. Well, yeah, we should have done this podcast in a hot tub. That would have been fun.
Next time.
Next time. A little bit of a more serious topic.
Amouranth concerned as fan follows her and demands to meet at site of double homicide.
So you've had some serious issues with stalkers over the years. Someone nearly set fire to your garage, and you also had a guy from Estonia who camped near your PO box and tried to propose. I assume you said no.
Well, that was actually two different ones. The guy from Estonia came to my door and wanted to propose, and then there was another guy from Canada who camped out at the PO box, also wanting to propose. So.
And both times, obviously, no. It's not the way to get to your heart.
So close, but not quite.
How does it kind of affect you?
It's just more inconvenient at this point, which probably sounds really callous, but it's just when you see these people, though, you kind of understand that they probably have some mental illness or whatever, and then like you partly feel bad, but it's just also so inconvenient that at the same time you don't feel bad because you're also like having to deal with it, and usually they end up seeming harmless, but you never know because.
Yeah.
If someone actually faces real life rejection, that's why I just avoid confronting them in general. You know, sometimes they can go crazy even more physically. So.
Yeah, you've called out police before for not taking your complaints seriously. You know, is that still the case now? Do you feel like there's not enough support when it comes to cyber stalking?
That was the case at my previous house. I haven't had to deal with them currently at this one, and it's a different police unit. So. At the last one, I got swatted so much that they thought when I called in it was another SWAT. So I kind of understand the issue, but at the same time, I feel like I need a code word. But at this house, I have like a red button that I can press that alerts them that it's a real thing. So
Right, okay, that's amazing. Oh,
yeah.
I'm glad that's the case. Why do you share these incidents?
I think it's good to let a lot of people know what it's like before they just jump into like a career in social media. Because a lot of kids want to do it. You know, you go to any junior high or high school, and most of them now, it's not a lawyer, it's not like a doctor, it's not even an athlete they want to be influencers.
Mm-hmm. You want to be a streamer, yeah.
TikToker, anything, all of those still have stalkers. So
I know, I've got a 6-year-old girl, and I found on her iPad a little video of her where she was like, "Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel," and I was like, oh my god, it's like, it's
starting, no.
Starting already, she's 6. But don't worry, I'm not going to make an account for her.
Good.
No, I'm going to keep her away from the internet for a long time. You know, you mentioned you go out for IRL streaming, and you also kind of just in general, obviously have to leave the house, although you say you stay here quite often.
Yeah.
You know, do you have to take a lot of security precautions when going out?
Yeah, typically. More so when I go to like a bigger, I guess, influencer savvy state like Florida or California, because a lot of them are more used to that kind of thing. People here don't really know who I am, so it's not quite as necessary to have security here. Mm-hmm. But especially at conventions, I have to have a security guard with me, especially at TwitchCon. Like they actually offer you, the convention themselves will offer their big streamers security guards.
Yeah, honestly, when I was at TwitchCon, just in San Diego, I couldn't believe how much security, it's on another level. There's like people with earpieces just turn up in places.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're like, I don't think people realize how much that event is actually like watched to the degree it is.
Yeah, I think a lot more will have security guards this year after last year than getting harassed and stuff. Because I think a lot of the guys thought they wouldn't need security guards because they're not girls. But turns out people still try to.
People are still
start some drama. So.
Yeah. Generally speaking, a lot of the abuse online is kind of a lot towards women. Does that impact you? Kind of the level of hate that you probably do receive online?
Yes and no, I guess, because I've developed such a thick skin to it at this point. And I was lucky to get in early, so I've kind of made probably most of the money that I would make in my career. And I think it's really harder to do it now. So I think a lot of the hate is really hard on girls now trying because they're probably getting a lot of hate without having much success versus in the past, it's like you could brush off the hate if you were an early adopter because you were having so much success. It didn't matter anyway. So I think it'd be definitely more demoralizing nowadays.
All right, well, thanks for taking the time to do this, Kate.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.